Коли продовжуємо робочі
We continue our working day at Ukraine Crisis Media Center, and you all know that we have about a month till Eurovision 2017 starts, and now we are going to speak about security in Kyiv during Eurovision 2017 in Kyiv. Our speakers are Bohdan Lyzohub, Chief of Staff for Security Coordination during the preparation and holding of Eurovision 2017 in Ukraine, Yurii Nazarov, Director of the Information and Communication Technology Department of Kyiv City State Administration. Welcome on stage.
Доброго дня.
Good afternoon, dear representatives of mass media. It's a pleasure to speak to you about the Eurovision 2017 in Kyiv topic. So all you know that our wonderful city is great, and I believe that you understand that Kyiv is a wonderful ancient city, and it is as safe as any other European city. That's why we gathered here to speak about security. You know that law enforcement bodies take all necessary measures in order to provide safety during Eurovision 2017 contest for the security of delegations and for general public who will attend this event. What was done during this period? We conducted a lot of activities, and all sides are studied and analyzed. All the risks were analyzed in the course of preparations, and also we created the plans and the calculations of forces and means. On the whole, we will have about 10,000 law enforcers who will provide security. We won't provide detailed information on this due to security reasons. All police force, National Guard, and all law enforcement bodies, they are ready for this event, and they are ready to prevent some threats that may arise, and to provide security to everyone. So at sites, they will provide reinforced patrolling in the center of the city and all the locations and sites, and also we reinforced security in transport infrastructure. We will have information points of police, and there will be police officers who speak English, and they will provide all necessary help and information to our international guests. And we have a lot of experience in this. You know that there was an event, the Championship 2012. You all remember that then there was a lot of guests, and football matches, they are somehow problematic in terms of security, but we provided security at high level, and incidents were minimal, and Ukrainian law enforcers did everything in their capacity in order to prevent any unlawful actions. And now we do everything possible in order to provide security to the participants and to the general public. So we will provide security, and we will have police officers who speak English for our international guests, and police officers will provide security on sites, and you can see that Kyiv is a peaceful city. So we are ready to any situation. We are ready for different situations, and we will do everything possible to prevent negative events. So we will have some command and staff training with the participation of all stakeholders to provide security to Eurovision guests, and also we will have technical training to provide security during Eurovision 2017, and all those possible threats we will rehearse in practice all necessary aspects how to counteract the threat. Also, there will be some limitation of movement in the center part of Kyiv, and at sites this is a normal practice in order to provide more space for visitors and for participants, and in order that the city would function normal in this period. And also, I would like to say once again that all governmental bodies are involved and all our special forces are also active. They cooperate with our international partners, and they do everything possible and implement measures to prevent terror threats. That's why I am now pleased to answer your questions in order for you to understand that we are preparing really for this international event. Anatolii Seredynskiy, the representative of the National Police, and then we will give the word to Bohdan, and then we will start questions. Anatolii, you are given the floor.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to add what Bohdan had told about the general strategy of coordination between law enforcement agencies. I would like to add about special recommendations to the guests who stay in Ukrainian capital in the times of Eurovision. Now these recommendations are presented in 2 languages, in Ukrainian and in English. The major aspects that we would like to say. All the police posts will be supplied with English-speaking assistance, allowing these policemen communicate with the for English-speaking foreigners. We try to develop all possible scenarios. The most during the whole route and the whole stay in the Ukrainian capital. For example, if guests arrive to the airport and wish to use public transport to and from the city, they can do this. We also try to develop scenarios for potential guests with children and try to provide them with all necessary conveniences for children. Mr. Nazarov. Good afternoon. I would like to inform you how we plan to use modern technologies and state-of-the-art appliances to ensure security of our guests. The last year, we launched implementation of the project the smart city, the secure city on the framework of Kyiv Smart City project. We have the surveillance system which allows to connect 15,000 of cameras. Also, we have a special points in the security service of Ukraine, surveillance centers, and also we have the city center, a special room from which you can trace the situation in the city and observe the situation of the city. Currently, we have more than 4,000 cameras in the schools, in the vicinity of schools, kindergartens, museums, theaters, and other places where the crowds of people may gather. Then we have the cameras on 5 bridges, then Independence Square, Bessarabska Square, Hreshatyk Square, Institutska Square, Hrushevska Street, Bogdana Khmelnytskого Street. That is, we have full infrastructure for ensuring security in the city. What do we plan to do in course of our preparations to Eurovision? Additionally, we have established 13 additional locations, international exhibition center, where the contest itself will happen, Bravarsky Avenue, then Mikhailivska Square, Sofievska Square, Prorezhna Street, Hreshatyk Street, Andreev Descent, Kontraktova Square, Trukhanev Island, where people might have a leisure, and in all those locations which I mentioned, we plan to do the following, to implement the following security measures. In the International Exhibition Center, in main points, we will install 250 review cameras and 50 more robotics cameras, where operators will see what will happen. As for the International Exhibition Center, there will be out of 115 cameras, 2 robot cameras, 2 specialized cameras of ultra high resolution, and also we will have a special operational point inside the International Exhibition Center. Also, we will have a video analytics center, which will carry out online data analysis, detecting abandoned islands, identification of the area, security, housing utilities analysis, and detection of abnormal behavior, handling, etc. Then, based on the Kyiv Security Center, jointly with the Security Service, Police, and National Guards Command, we establish the 24/7 post and service, which will very carefully survey the situation, get all the information from online data analytics system. At the same time, each Kyiv resident may call to 1551 hotline, and this line will respond not only in Russian or Ukrainian, but also in English and German languages. We will have multi-speaking tellers at this line who will provide assistance in these languages. the center will work on all day round, 7 days a week, and thus we believe that we will put under control all possible situations where crowds of people may gather. At the same time, we carry out special work allowing to ensure connections to all additional cameras which are located or owned by big shopping malls, hotels, etc. As of now, we have 7,000 cameras. Thus, we will have full coordination due to the work that I described, full coordination between all this municipal services and security and law enforcement bodies. Dear journalists, you are now encouraged to ask questions. Temur Filonen, Kazik TV channel. I have a question. First, the question to Mr. Bohdan. You mentioned that the traffic on some streets will be stopped. In which streets the traffic will be stopped? There is a special schedule developed from April 26 up to May 18th. The traffic will be limited on Krishatek Street. And from May 1st to May 14th, some streets around main venue, the International Exhibition Center, some traffic will be closed. Also on the inauguration day, this will be near Mariinsky Park, the street, Grushevskaya Street will be closed, and some adjacent streets, but this will be just for some hours needed for assembly and of equipment and the inauguration procedure, etc. And the second question, whether the national police took into consideration the recent terrorist acts in Stockholm and other European cities. Of course, the special units, special National Guards units will be involved, and anti-terrorist forces will be in full alarm, and they will stay on duty in the state of excess alert, and of course, we keep into account whether you will have cameras in Zhuliane and Borispil airports and where else. Of course, in all the points of arrival, of guest arrival, we will have a lot of cameras. The next question. Kristin Yazhins, correspondent from Austrian television. The first question, how many cameras in general will you use? And the second, whether it is possible to shoot that central operational point, command point. As I mentioned, we will have 7,000 cameras, and of course it will be possible to make a TV story to shoot that operational point which you mentioned. Yes, it will be possible, but with restrictions, some restrictions. If there will be any threat, in case of any threat, what you are ready to repeal, whether terrorist act, whether provocations, whether provocations from Russian fans, Could you please develop more what you wish to? Actually, we keep in mind all the threats that you mentioned and all the points that you mentioned, even some hypothetical things, very theoretically possible, but we took into account the biggest threats first, but including that happened recently in the European capitals. And of course, we took everything into account and we developed response measures for all the scenarios. I have just one question. On May 8th and 9th, we have commemoration days. How you will ensure security measures on these days which coincide with Eurovision? Not only these days, we have May 1st and 2nd, which will be marked by demonstrations. May 2nd will be the anniversary of tragic events in Odessa. We also keep this in mind. We have carried out all the preparatory and response measures. We keep in mind the experience of previous years, and we keep this under control and try to do everything, to predict everything. I have one more question related to the International Exhibition Center. Once in Vienna, when we had a case when one fan had brought a flag from Nagorno-Karabakh, and Azerbaijani ambassador immediately called to the police and invited a patrol. How are you prepared to such situations? In the exhibition center, we have the access control system. We will this control will be carried out by special, so to say, observation or search groups, and we are ready to any sorts of provocations, and all the attempts to bring prohibited items will be put under control. I would like to add we had exercises like last week, and we trained in responses of 15 possible scenarios, beginning with hooligan actions and ending with attempts of terrorist attacks. That is, we try to develop response to all the scenarios mentioned by you. Yemets Maria, UCMC. These days in Kyiv, there will be a lot of foreigners. How should non-Ukrainian or non-Russian speakers act in case they got trapped in some unpredictable situation? We have prepared recommendations for non-Ukrainian, non-Russian speakers, and I think the best way is to disseminate such recommendations. In those recommendations, we offer a lot of options to such people. Besides that, the foreigners may call to 102 telephone line, and in each location or in each venue where the Eurovision events will be held, we will have our patrols whom the foreigners may address. And one more specifying question. Whether you will produce any English, Ukrainian, Russian-speaking app for mobile phones specifically for Eurovision, about possible telephone calls. Telephone number 1559, which will be free these days. We also will launch the mobile application indicating historical cities or audio guides. We will, in a week, we'll present this a mobile application for broad public. One more comment from me. About recommendations to journalists and fans. Maybe you should disseminate these brochures in Borispil and Zhuliana airports. Also, we will install interactive information kiosks. 35 such kiosks will be installed around Kyiv, where people will be able to get information in European languages. Thank you very much. And dear journalists, you may ask now your questions individually. Thank you very much.